It was a normal morning in Washington, D.C., the capital of the United States, but a message on social media changed everything. The message was from the President, Donald Trump. His words started a big crisis for the city and the country. Earlier that day, President Trump was traveling in his official car. He was going from the White House to his golf course in Virginia, a trip he often made. During the drive, he looked closely at the city's streets. What he saw through his window made him very upset. He saw many homeless people living in public spaces. He felt this was not right for the nation's capital. He saw small camps with about 10 tents on the grass next to a highway. These camps were only a short distance from the White House. He saw one person sleeping on the cold steps of a large, important building on a famous street. He also saw trash and litter on the side of a road near the Kennedy Center, a well-known place for art and music. The president thought the city looked dirty and unsafe. He decided he had to do something about it right away. From his car, he took a few pictures of the tents and the litter. Then he posted them online for everyone to see. With the photos, he wrote a very strong and clear order. The message said that all homeless people must move out of Washington, D.C. He wrote the word immediately in big letters to show that it had to happen now. He also said he would give them places to stay, but these places would be far from the city. This surprise order became the biggest news in the country. It started a huge national discussion. People everywhere began to argue. Was this fair? Was this legal? The city government, social workers, and the homeless people themselves were now in a very difficult situation. A serious crisis had begun in the capital city. 2. The city's people. Washington, D.C. is a large city with about 700,000 residents. To understand the president's sudden order, it is important to look at the real facts about homeless people in the capital. The true situation is very different from what a person might see from a car window. On any given night, about 5,140 people in the city are experiencing homelessness. But where do these people sleep? Only a small group sleeps outside. These are the people in tents or on building steps that are the most visible. There are about 800 of them. They are only a small part of the bigger picture. Most people without a home have some kind of shelter. For example, more than 3,200 people use the city's emergency shelters for a safe place to sleep. Another 1,065 people live in transitional housing. These are temporary homes that help people find jobs and stability. This means the great majority are not on the streets. For every one person sleeping outside, more than 5 others are in a shelter. The city was also making real progress. A yearly city report from January 2025 showed very good news. The total number of homeless people went down by 9% from the year before. For families with children, the number went down by an impressive 18%. This was a sign of real success and showed that the city's programs to help its residents were working. So, who are the people affected by the president's order? Most are not strangers. They are local residents of Washington, D.C. who had difficult times. They are not people who just arrived from other regions. Many struggle with mental health problems or with substance abuse. Others lost their homes because of economic problems. They are people with personal stories, families, and friends in the community. They are truly the city's own people. 3. The law and the order. After President Trump's order, many people asked an important question. Does the president have the legal power to do this? Reporters asked the White House for an answer. They wanted to know which law gave the president this power. But the White House did not give a clear answer. This silence made people ask more questions. Washington, D.C. is a special city. It has its own government and its own laws. This is because of the District of Columbia Home Rule Act, a law from 1973. This act lets the people of Washington elect their own mayor and city council. These local leaders manage the city. The president can control federal land, like the National Mall, but not the whole city. Most streets and local parks are under the city's control. To force people out of the entire city, the president would need to challenge the city's power to govern itself. Even with these legal questions, the government acted fast. Hundreds of federal agents were sent to the streets of Washington. This was a very large number of federal police for the city. People saw more than 120 agents from the FBI walking in the streets. Officers from other groups, like the Drug Enforcement Administration, were also there. In total, 450 federal officers were on patrol. Their job was to follow the president's new focus on order. The presence of so many federal agents was unusual. It made some parts of the city feel like they were under military control. Residents and tourists were confused to see so many armed officers on normal city streets. The government also made a more serious plan. It prepared to use the National Guard. The National Guard is part of the Army that can be used inside the country during big emergencies. In Washington, D.C., the president has direct control of the National Guard. This is different from the states, where governors have that control. The idea of using soldiers to move homeless people was very serious. It worried many people, including some politicians. They felt that using the military for a social problem was a dangerous step. The city was now full of federal police, with the Army ready to join them. 4. The mayor's words. The city's leader, Mayor Muriel Bowser, quickly responded to the president's order. She was the elected mayor of Washington, D.C., and she did not agree with President Trump. She went on a television news show to speak directly to the American people. She wanted everyone to know the facts about her city. Mayor Bowser said the president's words about Washington, D.C. were not true. He talked about a city with a big crime problem, but the mayor showed this was wrong. She used official numbers to prove her point. She explained that violent crime was down 26% from the year before. Total crime was also down. In fact, she said that violent crime was at a 30-year low. This means the city was safer than it had been in a very long time. The story the president told about a dangerous city was completely different from reality. The mayor also spoke about the police. She was confused about why the president sent hundreds of new federal agents to her city. She explained that the local D.C. police and federal police were not enemies. They were partners. Federal law enforcement is always on the street in D.C., and we always work cooperatively with them, she said. This means they always helped each other to keep people safe. Their good work together was one reason why crime was going down. Finally, Mayor Bowser shared information about a recent meeting. Only a few weeks before, she was in the White House. She met with President Trump in the Oval Office. During their meeting, she told him the good news about the city. She personally gave him the information that crime was at a historic low. The mayor said President Trump was very aware of the facts, but now he was telling a different story. His order ignored everything she had told him. The mayor's words showed a deep disagreement between the city's government and the president. The president's order made many important people in the government react. In the U.S. Congress, politicians from different parties started to talk about the new rule for Washington, D.C. They did not all agree, and their reactions were very different. Eleanor Holmes Norton is the representative for Washington, D.C. in Congress. She was very angry about what the president said. She called his order offensive to the people of the city. She explained that Washington has a large population of over 700,000 residents. Norton strongly believed that these people are perfectly capable of governing themselves. They have their own local government and do not need the federal government to interfere in their city's problems. She said the people of D.C. can make their own decisions. Norton also said that many D.C. residents are black and brown, and they deserve the right to govern themselves without interference. For her, this problem was a clear reason why D.C. should become a state, not just a district. Politicians from the Democratic Party shared her anger. They said the president was using his power in a dangerous and wrong way. Some called his actions authoritarian, meaning he was acting like a ruler with total power. Democrats in Congress wanted to start official hearings. In these meetings, they planned to ask many difficult questions about the president's new order and if it was legal. The Republican Party was much quieter. Many Republican politicians did not feel comfortable with the president's plan. They were worried that it could create a bad precedent. If the president could do this in D.C., maybe the federal government could interfere in their own states later. However, most Republicans did not criticize the president in public. They were unsure what to do or say about the difficult situation. 6. A helping hand. The president's order made many people worried. Social workers and doctors thought it was a very bad idea. These experts work with homeless people every day. They knew that forcing people to leave the city would create new, serious problems. Many people on the streets have connections in Washington, D.C. They have doctors they trust and counselors who help them with their problems. Moving them away would break these important connections. If a person is getting treatment for a health problem, they need to see their doctor regularly. The order meant they could lose this help. Their health could get much worse. Social workers also said that many of these people were not strangers to the city. They had family, friends, and support groups. They were part of a community. Moving them to a place far away would leave them completely alone. This would make it harder for them to get better. Dr. Sarah Martinez, an expert on homelessness, said that these community ties are very important for recovery. The president's plan would destroy years of progress for many individuals. The social workers and health experts said there were better ways to help. Forcing people out of the city does not solve the problem. A better idea is called Housing First. This program gives a person a safe place to live before anything else. When people have a home, they feel secure. It is easier for them to find a job, get medical care, and solve their other problems. Studies show that this method works. It has already helped many people in Washington, D.C. and other cities. The experts agreed that helping people is more effective than punishing them. The president's order was not a helping hand. It was a plan that would hurt the city's most vulnerable people. 7. The president's view. The important day started in a normal way. President Trump was in his presidential motorcade. This is a group of special, safe cars. He was leaving the White House. He was on his way to his golf club in the state of Virginia. It was a trip he made many times. But this time, what he saw from his car window started a crisis for the city. As the cars moved through the city, President Trump looked outside. He did not like what he saw. Near a highway, he saw about 10 tents on the grass. People were living in them. Then he saw a person sleeping on the hard steps of a large building on a famous street. He also saw trash on the ground near an important building for the arts. These things were all in the nation's capital, and he was not happy about it. The president used his phone to take 4 photos of these scenes. He took them from his seat inside the moving car. His view was quick and from a distance. Looking at a city from inside a secure car can change how you see things. The problems can seem very simple to fix when you are not close to them. You do not see the difficult lives of the people outside. This view from the presidential car was a big reason for his very strong and sudden reaction. For President Trump, the city of Washington, D.C. needed to be beautiful. He often talked about making it the most beautiful capital in the world. He felt that the city showed America's power and success to everyone. When important people from other countries visit, he wanted them to see a perfect city. The tents and the litter made him feel the city looked bad. He wanted to clean it immediately to protect the country's image. His feelings about the city's appearance led to his order. This order created a difficult situation with a long history. There has always been tension between the United States government and the local government of Washington, D.C. The city has its own mayor to make decisions for its people. But the president and the federal government also have power there. This often creates arguments. The president's sudden order started another chapter in this old fight. The fight was about more than just homeless people. It was about who truly governs the capital city. 8. What happens next? The president's order created a serious problem in Washington, D.C. It is a conflict with many sides. The first question is about the president's power. Can he legally force people to leave the city? The second question is about the city's rights. Washington, D.C. has its own mayor and its own laws, and they do not agree with the president. The third and most important question is about the people. This is a human crisis. What will happen to the thousands of people who have no home? Their lives are now uncertain. This story is not finished. Everyone in the city and across the country is waiting. The president will hold a press conference soon. He said he will talk about his plans for the city. People will listen carefully to understand the next steps. Will he send in the National Guard? At the same time, lawyers are getting ready to fight the order. They will go to court to protect the rights of homeless people. They hope a judge will say the president's order is wrong and must be stopped. This situation is a big test for American democracy. It asks who has the real power in the nation's capital. Is it the federal government or the local city government? This conflict has a long history in Washington, D.C. It is also a test of how the country treats people who need help. The government's choices will show its values. Will it protect its people who need help, or will it push them away because they are poor? The future is not clear. The people in the homeless camps are scared. They do not know if they will have to leave the places they know. They could lose contact with doctors, social workers, and friends. The next few days are very important. The decisions made will affect many lives. They could also change the relationship between the president and American cities for a long time. If you were a leader in this situation, what would be your first step to solve the problem?